Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Savvy Report. I'm your host, Kristen Hale. We've got a good show for you today, especially if you have a startup or growing business. We'll talk to Geri Stengel, Research Advisor for American Express. She'll give us some insight on the Middle Market Power Index, the American Express report on the economic health of mid-sized businesses. Next, we'll be talking with Michael Everts, President of SharedSpace, a fast-growing, flexible work office environment. If you're not sure what that is, stay tuned and we'll fill you in. But before we get to our guests, let's see what's going on in business and order to cash. Same-day ACH for debits is now available, providing another option for faster payments. According to NACHA, the Electronic Payments Association and the steward of the ACH network, same-day ACH credit has successfully been in use for the last year. ACH for debits builds upon the existing credit capabilities and offers a new option to pay bills faster and provide users with a more accurate sense of available account balances. Microsoft is helping customers digitally transform their business cloud, AI, and mixed reality in addition to advancing the next frontier of computing. At the recent Microsoft Ignite, an annual gathering of 25,000 business customers, Microsoft showcased the infusion of cloud, AI, and mixed reality to help create the future of business. Some of the highlights include a new programming language optimized for exploiting scalable quantum computers, Microsoft 365 powered devices including new commercial Windows 10s devices from HP, Lenovo, Acer, and Fujitsu, and solutions around new intelligent communications involving Skype for Business Online. Before we get to our first guest, there are a number of flexible office spaces popping up across the country, ideally suited for startups and growing businesses. If you're in the market for a workspace that provides an entrepreneurial environment and access to like-minded business owners, all at an affordable price, then perhaps SharedSpace is for you. We're joined by Michael Everts, President of SharedSpace. Michael, welcome to the Savvy Report.
Sheena, thank you so much for having me here today.
So tell me a little bit about SharedSpace and why you decided to launch this enterprise.
Absolutely. So last year, my partner, Daniel Levison, who's been in the real estate industry for about 40 years, and me, who has a big background in audiovisual technology and designing collaboration space, decided to partner up and build this co-working space. When we started this space, we just had one side of the building, one side of the top floor of the building. We were about 5,000 square feet. And then earlier this year, we grew in size and we actually expanded to our entire floor, which is 15,000 square feet. So we've seen pretty significant growth since we started last year, but it's been a great first year.
That's great. Is SharedSpace ideally suited to an individual or to a business?
Absolutely. So we believe that we can bring something to kind of both of those groups and everyone in between, all the way from the individual working at home, getting lonely, or trying to go work at a coffee shop and dealing with the noisiness of that. We feel like we can provide an environment that's really conducive to the type of heads down work they might be needing to do, whether it's through conference rooms we provide, event space, or just many of the other amenities that are suited specifically to those types of groups.
That's great. Now, how has SharedSpace been received since you first opened?
Yeah, so it's funny you asked that. Many of the people that come and tour our space, especially ones that live near us, are surprised that there's a co-working space so close to them out in the suburbs. Most co-working spaces have traditionally been built in kind of large urban centers. And they're, like I said, very surprised and kind of delighted to find that there's one so close to their house. As you know, the Atlanta traffic can be a big problem sometimes. And many of these people are just happy that they don't have to drive all the way into the city to find a good workspace where they can really get some of their work done.
So what are the plans for SharedSpace into 2018 and beyond?
Yes, so we are opening our second location this November in Cobb, right next to the new SunTrust Park. And so we're really, really excited about that. And then later in 2018, we have a plan to open a third SharedSpace somewhere else in the city. We haven't fully decided yet. But then on top of that, we'd really like to expand SharedSpace as a concept outside of just Atlanta and further into the Southeast. So no matter what city you're in the Southeast, if you're a member of SharedSpace, you'll be able to access our facilities and really just get some solid work done.
Michael, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll keep an eye on SharedSpace and the progress.
Well, thank you so much, Kristen. Really appreciate it.
Welcome back. Each year, American Express and Dun & Bradstreet publish a report that focuses on the economic impact of middle market firms. To defined as organizations with annual revenues between $10 million and $1 billion. To give us some insight on this year's report, we're joined by Geri Stengel, Research Advisor for American Express. Welcome, Geri.
Hi, how are you?
Now, you advise American Express on their research projects through your own firm. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I work with American Express on coming up with ideas that will build them thought leadership. This is research that, as you said, has been going on for several years about middle market firms. I also do research for them on women entrepreneurs.
There's so much focus in the press and elsewhere on Fortune 500 and small businesses, but middle market businesses play a vital role in our economy. Explain to us a little bit about that role and how Middle Market Power Index speaks to that.
So what we found in looking at the numbers after the recession is that middle market firms actually increased in their importance to the overall economy. So they went from representing about 1/5 of all employees and revenue to representing about a quarter. In terms of their overall numbers, they were less than 0.5% before the recession and during the recession, and after the recession, their numbers grew 1%. So they're small in numbers, but they have a huge impact on the overall economy.
What have we seen in the middle market economic performance since the recession of 2008?
Well, they continue to make a really, really important impact. So they now represent more than half of all net new jobs. So the number of jobs created between 2011 and 2016 were 52 million. More than half of those were created by middle market firms.
Which states are showing the best economic boost because of the performance of the middle market companies, and which states are a little bit behind?
So the middle market firms that are really, or middle market states that are really doing well are those actually in the middle of the United States. And two really huge standout states are Ohio and Michigan. So these states both lost a lot during the recession. So some of it is that they're recovering a little more ground than maybe in New York or California. But now they're making it up in spades. In terms of states that really aren't doing well, in terms of middle market firms, a good example of that might be Montana.
Well, Geri, thank you so much for joining us and providing some intriguing insight on the middle market businesses. To get your copy of the Middle Market Power Index, you can simply visit the link below. A big thank you to our guest today, Michael Everts from SharedSpace, for sharing with us about the trend around flexible office environments and startups for growing businesses. Also, a big thank you to Geri Stengel and her insight into the economic performance of middle market businesses and their impact on our economic environment. I'm Kristen Hale for the Savvy Report. We'll see you next time.